Hello everyone, in this podcast we're going to cover how to create control icons in Python. To start off with, I have an example of a normal circle, which is a very useful control icon. So I'm going to double play on here and you can see it creates a NURB circle that's actually pointed down the x-axis because we're messing with the normal flag. Okay, that's good. But what if we want to create something like a square or cube or even a directional like an arrow? Well, we can't just use like polysphere or NURB square because these are not valid control icons. So what we do normally is we just actually we use a CV curve tool. Actually, I'm going to go into the long way of doing it. Let's go make sure I'm in linear mode in my control icon, and I'm just going to trace across the grid. Now it's very important to watch the history area up here in the script editor when I'm done with this. So I'm going to hit X, and I'm just going to snap, 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 and snap around our grid and hit enter. Okay, so there's our control. That's the command for curve. Now, we've done this before. This is not like breaking the bank, but I want to test this to make sure this works. So I'm going to make a mel tab because that is actually mel. Everything that pops up in the history area is typically mel. Okay, so there's my mel code. I'm going to hit double play, and there, I got a square. Okay, awesome. So what's the big deal here? Well, the big deal here is that converting this over to Python is really a pain in the butt. And the reason is that I'm going to do pm.curve, which is like every other command in Python for Maya. And then I have my flags, and I can say d equals 1, and I can say p equals, and I have my hard brackets, and I can say -1, 0, and -1. The problem is now we have another p flag, which is our points. So your first reaction is to say comma p equals and then do the same thing. Unfortunately, you can't do that in Python. You can only use the flag once as an argument. So how you have to do this in Python is that you're going to do a nested list, meaning you're going to have a list, and inside that list you're going to have smaller lists like that. Now for this command, it's irritating because I can do this. And then I can just do comma like that and say the next point is 1, 0, -1, and then my next one here is going to be brackets like that, 1, 0, 1, and so forth. And you go through all these. Actually, the K or knots are actually pretty easy. That's just a single list because it starts at 0 and goes to 4. So it'd be just 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only reason why it's nested is because there's triple values inside of it, like a list inside of a list. Okay, so this would work. But the problem is, and I've only got 3 points, I don't have all the points, is that what happens when I create a bigger control? Let's actually do that. I'm going to create a cube. So I'm going to create a polygon cube. So it uses as a guide plane. Okay. And now I'm going to create my CV curve. I'm going to snap to each point. Snapping, oh, got locked on. Okay, there you go. Let's go around the horn now. Oh, I'm going to regenerate that. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, so I'm back in my mode. So I'm just going to snap, 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 keep going around. Wants to grab that circle. Okay, so this last one right here is our command, just like we did before. And I know it works. We've done this multiple times, but see how many p flags are in this one? And this is only the next level up. Obviously, when you do an arrow, that's going to be even worse. So there's got to be a better way of doing that. Now, there are autoconverters inside of PyMel, but they're a little difficult to use right off the bat. The main thing is I'm going to show you another way around this, and I'm going to comment out this, and this, and this. Okay. So what we're going to use is we're going to use a different module that exists inside of PyMel. So I say pm.mel. So this is a whole nother set of libraries that are mel-based commands, and I say .eval. this is a command that evaluates anything as a string and sends it over to the Python, to the mail side. What do I mean by that? Well, inside here, if I type in circle like that, that's our basic circle command, this will create a circle. It'll zap over to mail and create a circle. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to comment out this one so we only see the last circle. Play and see, I got a circle. They're going to say, well, this is wonderful. I don't have to convert everything over. Well, I'm going to talk to in the future that that's not the best thing in the world. But this does make a really quick one when you have complex controls or complex elements that you need to actually don't want to have to convert over and you just want to send it over to the mail side. You can do this. So let's make this a little fancier than that. So I'm going to say mail line like that. There's a variable and I'm going to have it equals circle like that. Okay. So I'm going to take this variable now and replace the string inside. The reason why we're doing this is now I could just replace this simple line here and it's not very confusing. So let's go ahead and run that again. Make sure it works. Good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this curve command in here. Let's see, there we go. I can just replace this like that. Make sure you are on one line that you have, there's a string, there's a quote right there, and there's a quote in the beginning, because it's very easy to make mistakes on that. Now I hit play, boom, there's my square. Okay, so let's do the cube. I'm going to take the same information, I'm just going to copy and paste it down below. And I'm going to take all this information in here, and I'm going to just uncomment it and double click on it. This will cause a slight mistake in the system because it's going to bring everything to the next line. I'll show you that. So let's paste this down. See, it likes doing that. So you got to make sure it's all in one line. Okay, now I can comment out this line again. Okay, so I get play. It's going to create a square and a cube, but there's our cube and there's our square because it did before. And it would be the same thing with the arrow. It doesn't matter how complex the curve command gets. We would generate an arrow in the same way. We'd put a couple objects down. I would actually make kind of a polyplane and I would actually snap to it. Now, if you're going to do something more like this, where you're manipulating CVs, that's going to be for another podcast. That's going to take a little more time to work with because you're not doing everything in one step. With creating a curve, you're creating a circle and then you're grabbing CVs and moving them. Same thing with the center of gravity will be a little bit more of advanced control to do than this method on here. But as a quick pinch, anytime you need the curve command, this is a much better way of doing this. And especially for your shelf tools and things like that, it'll allow you to create control icons from the Python side.